So lately, I've been thinking the last few days that there must be other games that are releasing other than, the Mass Effect Remastered trilogy. So, what releases do we have this year? And which ones am I most hyped for? So these are just gonna come over in no particular order. These are just basically the ones that I'm excited for right now. Monster Hunter Rise. It releases on Switch, promises 100 hours or more of monster hunting. I was a big fan of Monster Hunter World. It was one of those games that just introduced me right in the middle of the series. I had never played a Monster Hunter game before up until Monster Hunter World, and I was amazed at the world building, the size of the world, the monsters, the number of different monsters. It reminded me a lot about Shadow of the Colossus, which I actually did play. Back when that was released, I hadn't even seen that Monster Hunter existed by then. And when I played Monster Hunter World, it just put me back into that seat. You're fighting epic, gigantic monsters that sort of resembled the gameplay a bit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Monster Hunter Rise. I just recently, for a few months ago, bought a Switch. So it's going to be interesting to see how Monster Hunter plays on Switch. Far Cry 6. It's weird, right, that I have this on my most expected games or most hyped up games, when in actuality I've always felt kind of meh about Far Cry. I was a big fan of both the first Far Cry and Far Cry 3, and after the success of Far Cry 3 you could definitely tell how Ubisoft has been trying over and over to replicate the success they had with Far Cry 3, and they've been trying to create great villains like they had in Far Cry 3. You remember Vaz? And it's sort of become a thing where everything kind of feels the same with Far Cry. Every game feels sort of like the same. The gameplay is like the same. There's not a lot of difference in objectives. You still have to capture these towers, to explore the map completely or to open up the map. And there's just so many mechanics that are just like each other in every game. So I haven't really felt any huge interest for any of the Far Cry games the last few years. But this one looks interesting. They're saying that it's going to be the biggest Far Cry yet, and it's going to be based on Cuba, and it's releasing on, of course, PS4, PS5, Xbox, every Xbox console, PC, Google Stadia, and the new system that Amazon has going. I'm not sure what the name of that one was. Can't remember it right now, but Amazon has a console that they're currently in the process of making. Okay, third, of course, we have the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. What more can I say? Most of you guys who have watched my videos have already seen that I'm pretty much Mass Effect focused right now. I'm trying to branch out with this video to try some other things, but mainly I've done Mass Effect, and these videos are just exploring the Mass Effect world, the Mass Effect universe, different aspects of that. So we know that Mass Effect 4 is not going to release this year, probably not, because of how much crunch they would have to do in order to release the game, and we don't want another Cyberpunk to happen with the next Mass Effect. So we don't want another Andromeda. So let's just let them work on the game. I'm looking forward to it, but right now it's the Legendary Edition, and what more can you say? It's just a remake of the old games, and Mass Effect is a legendary game series, so every Mass Effect fan has to check it out, even if it's just a remake. Horizon Forbidden West. Okay, yeah, I loved Horizon Zero Dawn. The world they built, the graphics, the mythology of how humanity basically doomed itself, the robo-dinos, the combat, everything about that game just felt right. They hit so many spots. It was such a breakout hit because I don't think a lot of people were ready for the success that game had and how good it really was. I bought it on a bargain price here in Sweden, but I still remember the day when I started playing it. It had already been out for half a year, but man, was I blown away. I wished I'd bought that earlier. I was literally blown away. The world was huge. As I said before, the mythology was incredible. The story was so rich and deep. Aloy as a protagonist, she's really cool. I just want to see more of her. Yeah, there were some rough spots here and there with Horizon, but overall it was a really great game. Looking forward to the next one. Okay, so I said that these are not in any particular order, I know, but I kind of lied here. Okay, so just a little bit. This game shares the spot with Mass Effect for my most anticipated game of the year, and that is God of War Ragnarok. Most people probably saw that coming, I hope. The release of God of War in 2018 was so crazy for me because I had never played a game that just hit so many right notes with me. The gameplay, of course, was incredible. How they incorporated the Leviathan axe instead of just, the chains of chaos that Kratos had before. The fact that he is a father, of course he was a father before, but we got invested into a new relationship with Atreus. Atreus was amazing. The actors for them both were amazing. The story, the Norse mythology. Now they're actually exploring the fact that the Norse gods are absolute assholes. And I love that because we've seen so much stuff about the Norse gods being noble and great and all that from like Marvel and stuff, but it's so refreshing to see them in another light, and that's what I really loved about God of War, like how they really showed that maybe they weren't that great of a pantheon of gods. Sort of like, the Greek gods too. Cruel, animalistic, very human characters. As I said, I loved God of War 2018. I of course played the old God of War games when I was younger, and I always was a fan of the fact that it was such a cool hack and slash experience with every game, but God of War 2018 was such a game changer, and Ragnarok is just gonna be insane. I believe how they're gonna deal with Thor is just, I can't even imagine, considering that he like, look at the giant he killed in the 2018 installment. Like, how did he do that? He's like, he must be at equal strength as Kratos. So this is just gonna be cataclysmic, insane. It's called Ragnarok for a reason, so probably gonna be the end of the Norse pantheon or the world, or maybe the universe. But we also know that Cory Barlog, he wants to do a lot of more God of War games, so who knows what's gonna happen. We have some theories, there's a lot of theories floating around. There's a lot of small Easter eggs here and there, small, clues and what might happen. Sort of maybe Kratos gets killed, Atreus takes over as the protagonist. Sorry, spoiler. Maybe, we don't know, because he's alive at the end of God of War, and we just don't know. But it's gonna be insane. I can't even. It's too much for me right now. Alright, this was my top 5 list, I guess you could call it, of my most anticipated video games of the year. Thanks for checking out the video. If you watched it this far, if you liked it, I would appreciate if you actually like it on the little thumbs up button right there. I appreciate it a lot. And if you have any suggestions, just leave them down below. I read every comment, I promise I do. And I'm curious, are you guys as excited as I am for these games, or is there any other game that you are excited about? Because I know that I missed some games that are coming out this year, but what do you guys think? What are you most interested in? Are you as excited as I am for God of War? Considering I might have sounded most excited for that game. As I said, it doesn't have to be one of the games on this list. Anyway, thanks again. Have a good one. Mr. Alton out.